Hello and welcome to today's National 8A Association webinar. I'm Haley Bingham, Deputy Director with the National 8A Association. The National 8A Association is a nonprofit with a mission to provide education and guidance for all aspiring, current, and graduate 8As. We're also proud to work with all types of minority small businesses, HubZone, veteran-owned, women-owned, JVs, agencies, large primes, and industry professionals. Before we begin, I'd like to note that this webinar is being recorded and all presentation materials will be posted on our website following this webinar. If you would like to ask a question of our presenters, please make sure to use the chat box and select everyone or email us at events@national8aassociation.org. I'd like to get started and introduce you to today's speakers. Krista Williams, VP of Government Contracting and Business Intelligence Manager at Bank of America, and Kristen Maycumber, Founder and CEO of Summit Strategies. Please welcome me and join them as they dive into the strategic action for proposal success. Welcome.
Thanks, Haley. We are super excited to be here. All right, there we go. I am Kristen Maycumber. I am the founder and CEO of Summit Strategy. We are an integrated marketing and proposal consulting firm. So we work with a lot of 8A companies, small businesses, meebie-weebies across the country and help them with marketing and proposals. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I spent 18 of those working in the corporate world, mostly for engineering and construction companies. And I have spent my entire career in proposals. I'm one of those weirdos that love proposals, so I can talk about proposals for a long time. We're going to spend a couple minutes today talking about just a very small fraction of it, but I could, spend many, many years talking about proposals. So I'm excited to share a little bit of some tips and tricks with you all today.
Do you want me to do an intro too?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Krista Williams, as Haley said, but I'm with Bank of America. I've been there. Next year will be 20 years at the bank, and I have spent most of that time working with government contractors in a variety of ways. So I'll talk a little bit more about what I do when I get into my slides later, but just really excited to have some time to chat with you all and look forward to hopefully seeing you all at the conference in February.
All right, so we're going to kick off first by just understanding a little bit about why you're here. So if you want to open up the chat box and drop the number that signifies your answer here. So think about why you're here. Are you struggling to win new business? Are you tired of writing repetitive proposals? Are you having difficulty standing out from your competitors? Or do you maybe have a lack of a business development strategy? So just drop in the chat 1, 2, 3, 4, what answer might apply most to you. Maybe all of these apply to you, maybe it's something else, but just try to think about out of these 4 items, which one most applies and drop in the chat. We've got a 1. Two and all. I feel your answer.
That's pure honesty.
That is pure honesty. All right, what else? Don't be shy. It's okay. We're not judging you. It's just for context. I'll give you guys just another minute or two. Anyone out there? Okay, everyone's playing shy today. That's okay. All right, so we're going to cover a couple of these. We only have a short time together, obviously, so we're not going to dive deep into this, but some of these things we will cover. It's easy to get stuck in a rut, I will say. So we're going to talk through some tips and tricks. There is a better way. There is an easier way to get out of a rut. So some of these things that we're going to talk about today will help you kind of elevate yourself and get out of that rut and just think about things a little bit differently. So to me, I think there's a couple, like 4 real key elements to writing a winning proposal. And I think there's lots of things out there that you can do to really hone your proposals, but I think it comes down to these 4 elements. And within each of these 4 elements, there's a couple layers to that. So we're going to kind of dive into these 4 elements here. So compliant, compelling, clear, and credible. And a couple of these are table stakes. So a couple of these are just non-negotiables you just have to do. And then a couple of these are really where you can take it up a notch and really start to differentiate yourself from your competitors and really start to tell a story. So 1 is compliant. So this is really where we talk about table stakes. You have to be compliant. And obviously you always have to follow the RFP, even if it makes no sense. And you probably are thinking, of course, duh, why would you be telling me this? I already know this. You'd be surprised how many times we have this conversation with people, our clients. In my 20 plus years working on proposals, how many times I've had the conversation about why we should follow the RFP, because sometimes it doesn't make sense because our friends at the government are busy. They often just copy paste the last RFP. They don't always put together a document that makes sense. They ask for sections that are repetitive, it's jumbled. And sometimes we want to make their lives what we think is easier and put together a proposal that streamlines what they've asked for. So bottom line is we should not do that. We always want to follow the RFP regardless of what we think makes the most sense. We want to follow what they've asked for, even if they ask for something 5 times in a different way. We want to give it to them 5 times in the way that they've asked for it. Secondly is compelling. So this is really where we can take it up a notch. And this is really where we want to start to answer, why should the client select you instead of everyone else? And here's where I see a lot of common mistakes in proposals. So first, I see people providing way too much information in their proposals, going way above and beyond what is asked for in the RFP, meaning clients are going to really have a hard time figuring out what you're selling. They're going to start having to weed through a lot of information to figure out what they really have asked for and what the important nuggets of information are. Secondly, is not describing value from the client's perspective. When your proposal is written all about yourself and from your perspective versus the client's perspective, the client's going to read it and not understand why they should care. That's that so what factor. Third is failing to identify what's different about you and your firm means you're going to sound like everyone else out there. You're going to have a real hard time differentiating yourself from your competitors. So to really hone in and start to differentiate yourself, you have to figure out what your value proposition is. And this is really sometimes difficult to do, and it's sometimes nebulous. A lot of people talk about what's your value prop, what's your win theme, what's your solution, but there's not always this concrete formula and a way to put that together, or not a lot of people have that formula to put together. So there is a formula out there, and it's called the IFBP formula. So I stands for issue, F stands for feature, B stands for benefit, P stands for proof. So I'm going to walk you through that formula. And this is a very easy way, once you kind of grasp the formula, to start to figure out what your value prop is and put it together in a way that is client focused and really hones in on what sets you apart and focuses on pulling out those really important nuggets and pieces of information that is going to really pull out that compelling story for your firm. So issue, and this is first and foremost because this is the foundational element. If you don't know what the client's issue is and the challenge that you're solving, the hot button, the pain point, the problem, the objective that you're trying to solve for that client, it's impossible to put together a winning solution or a win theme or a value prop. So that's why the issue is the very first and foremost thing that we have to identify, because we have to think about the client first. We have to put ourselves in the client's shoes, and we have to figure out what is their pain point, what's their problem, what's their solution, or what's their pain point that we need to solve before we can figure out what a solution might be. So that's what the issue is. Then the feature is how we're going to solve those pain points. So what are the tangible things and solutions that we bring to solve those problems? Then we have to think about the so what factor. So that's the benefit. So why are those features important to them? Those are the benefits, why they matter to that client. And then the proofs are those metrics and proof points That's evidence that those claims are true. So we can't just say that we've done it before, we have to prove that we've done it before. And I like to say, prove it or lose it. So we want to think about, what does the client want? We want to ask ourselves that so what question often as we're writing our proposal. And we also want to think about, this is not about us, right? We want to put ourselves in the client's shoes as we're writing our proposal, and we want to think about often the client versus ourselves. And this is very simple logistically. As we write our proposal, we want to think about writing their name versus our name. So the amount of times that we mention the client's name versus our name in the proposal should be completely way more than it is. And I bet you if you open your last proposal and you do a search for the amount of times that you mentioned your name or the word our or we versus the amount of times that you mention the client's name, I bet you it's going to be way off base. So just run that report on your last proposal and see what that looks like, and then try next time on your next proposal to switch that count. And then this is one of my favorite quotes: give your readers as much information as possible, as soon as possible, to hell with suspense. So our clients are busy. They often don't love reading proposals. They're often reading proposals in their second job, third job. It's not their day-to-day full-time job, especially when we talk about program folks, agency folks. It's not their primary, responsibility. And so we want to really give them the most important information first. And so this is a methodology called Kairos. So that means in a single page, we want to put the most compelling information in the very first paragraph. In a paragraph, we want to put this most important idea in the very first sentence. And then we want to use call out boxes to summarize or highlight information. So we really want to hit them hard up front, first and foremost, with the most important information. We don't want to make them wait until the last page or 20 pages in to find that really important information. And then this did have some animation, but we lost it. So many times we have cover letters. I see this where we start our cover letters. We are pleased to present this proposal. And your clients don't care that you're pleased to present this proposal. I'm on a mission to ban that from every single proposal out there. This is my personal mission in life. Our clients don't care. No one cares that you're pleased to present. And so when we talk about putting the most important information first and up front, the cover letter is the first impression of your company, of your proposal, of your solution, of everything. And so you don't want to put them to sleep right the second they open that proposal and the second they're reading that first sentence of your proposal. And so instead, we want to open our cover letters with a powerful statement describing what it is that you're going to do for them. And so instead of something boring like we're pleased to submit this proposal on the following pages, blah, 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 no one cares, talk about something that matters to them, tell them what their goals and objectives are and how you're going to meet them. So here's an example, you can read this later. You'll get these slides so you can reference them later, but talk about what they're facing and how you're going to help them and how you're the only one that can help them, and summarize some of those important selling points and value prop statements that you've developed as you've gone through that IFBP process earlier. And then there's a cover letter framework that you can go back and reference so that you can start structuring your cover letters in a more compelling way and get rid of that fluffy cover letter that is just boring and puts your clients to sleep. And then part of being compelling is also writing an active voice. So many of you know this already, but active voice is really helping the audience picture the action, and 90% of your long form document should be an active voice. And again, you can use Microsoft Word to run a report and tell you what percentage of your document is an active voice. And so again, pull up your last proposal and run that report and tell you what percentage of your document is active voice. And I bet you that or it actually tells you what percentage is passive voice. And I bet you that it's probably higher than you think, because it's normal it's our natural reaction, especially if you're technical. If you're a trained engineer, you typically write in more of a passive voice. And so we want to just switch our thinking to start writing in more of an active voice. And then we also get stuck in a rut using the same words over and over again. And so this is just a little cheat sheet you can reference back later to start using some more action verbs and some more powerful words that start to just, switch up the language a little bit and start to be a little bit stronger and just switch it up a little bit. And then again, power words, depending on what you're trying to convey, whether you're trying to convey urgency or trust or connection, again, just some different words that all just help make it a little bit more compelling. And then we get to clear. So we always want to tailor our content. Clients are smart. They know when you just shoved a bunch of boilerplate proposal content into your document and saved as, or you've taken the last, proposal saved as, and maybe you accidentally left the, a previous client name in there and oops, we never want to do that. We always want to tailor our content to that specific agency, to that specific opportunity. We also want to tailor our content to a grade level of 7th or 8th grade level. And I know this freaks out a lot of technical people because it feels like we need to dumb down our technical language and technical content, and that does not necessarily mean that. But what it does mean to write for an 8th grader is that we need to start to use shorter words, shorter sentences. We need to use simple sentence structure, not a lot of jargon. We need to avoid large blocks of text. Because remember, not all of your readers are going to be familiar with that subject matter. Not all of them are going to be technical. So again, Microsoft Word will run a report to tell you what your grade level is. So you want to be able to use the tools to help you write at that appropriate grade level. And then credible is the last element. So we want to prove it or lose it. So we want to substantiate all claims with facts. We don't want to just use these blanket statements like we have relevant experience. Everyone says they have relevant experience. Instead of just saying that blanket statement, we want to say, more quantifiable, proof points. I'll show you some examples here shortly. Metrics are best. And then we don't want to use watered down superlatives or platitudes, which we'll talk about in a second. So proof points, here are some examples. We've completed more than 5,000 aviation projects in the last 5 years. That's much stronger than saying we've got relevant experience. We employ more than 50 professionals within 5 miles of your site. Anything that's more quantifiable, it helps you really stand out from your competitors, and it really helps tell that story. And then this is my favorite thing. Everyone talks about state of the art. Everyone says they're uniquely qualified. Everyone says they're innovative. If everyone says they're innovative, it really waters it down to where no one's really innovative. So instead of really just claiming these, watered down superlatives, we really want to talk about how we're innovative and how we've used our innovative approach and what that innovative approach has resulted in, and really use those metrics to prove it instead of just, using those watered down claims. And then we want to use success stories and quotes as call out boxes, graphics, anything to call our attention, call the reader's attention to those really important proof points and metrics. Again, our readers are busy. They're going to be flipping pages, and we want to catch their eye and catch their attention with some of those graphics. And then we want to make sure that our templates are upgraded. We don't want our proposals to look like they're straight out of the 90s, which I still see a lot of them do. Especially when we start looking at government proposals. They don't have to look like they're out of the 90s, even if, Times New Roman 12-point font is required. They can still look a little bit more upgraded because, the visual content matters as well. All right, I sped through that. So I'm going to pass it over to Krista because I know we've got a little bit left. So pass it over to you, Krista. I think you're on mute.
Yep, I was. I wasn't able to see any of your slides, so I'm not exactly sure how we can do that. I can maybe just share on my side.
You can't see the slides?
Nope. I was trying to troubleshoot it with Haley. But let me see, I can share.
Oh.
Let's see.
Okay. Someone said they could though. Oh my gosh, I had a heart attack that no one could see my slides.
Oh, no. Yeah, no,
Okay.
sorry. I did not. It didn't mean that everybody else couldn't. It was just, it's been my luck today. So not to worry.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So just let me know if you can see that.
Yep, I can see.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, um, yeah, today's been like a Monday all day in a few different ways, but it's only Wednesday. But, so just kind of jumping on to what she was talking about, and I know probably when a lot of folks were looking at the proposal content, they thought, why is a bank partnering with her? But actually, Kristen and I have been working on this and really talking about, this common topic for, I guess it's about a year now. So really just want to take a few minutes. I know we're kind of getting to the end here, but just to talk about some things that maybe you haven't thought of when you're in the proposal process, but kind of shine a little more light on what it is that I actually get to do at the bank. So I am not a banker at all, which is nice and good for some folks. But I actually get to work in the government contracting group within our commercial bank. So I do work with established government contractors across the country. I love that I sit in Knoxville, Tennessee, but I have coverage all across the country, and you'll see where some of my partners are. Um, just as a kind of bigger overview, B of A is very supportive of this industry. And, I enjoy getting to work with small businesses. I've got partners that sit in the DC area that work with the large primes. And, you can read all this information on here, but, we have a very great track record and history of working with government contractors. And because it is a very unique experience, it's a very unique industry to support. So you need to make sure that, and just one thing that and you'll see this a couple times, is that when you are in this industry, you need to make sure that your business partners and your service providers, everybody that you interact with, that they understand your industry. So for us, we understand the challenges of, of small business outgrowing their size standards. We understand the 8As when they graduate, what challenges they may have, what, focuses that they may need. So it's really good for us to be able to have kind of that almost like a consultant that comes with the bank, kind of relationship with a business. So just kind of, again, focusing a little bit more on how we operate, because a lot of times that's the main question. Is I kind of have a dual purpose role. Internally at the bank, I get to kind of just sit in with the overall team that manages the banking relationships, talks about, the challenges or pitfalls that you may have, and really just get it to be one of the supporting partners, because they have a variety of partners that all excel in what they do. So I've got underwriters, treasury, cash management folks. You've got, all those individuals that come in, but we get to come in and talk GovCon. We get to talk about, what are the challenges, pitfalls? Are you looking for a proposal writer? Because if so, we know somebody. We talk about that kind of strategy. And then the part that I actually love to do the most, that I actually get to do more of, and we'll get to do more of in the near future, is really kind of drumming up those industry connections for businesses. So being that voice that hears your challenges and problems and saying, okay, where within the industry can we go and help make those connections to solve the problem that you have? Is it, potential teaming partners? Are you looking for large primes? Are you wanting to engage with other agencies because you serve this one already and you want to work with another one? So we kind of help pull all of that together, which has been, I love getting to do that all the time. Our coverage model, like I said, I get to sit in the beautiful state of Tennessee over here. And, but what we actually get to do is we have partners, and our team is just now growing. So we have teams across the country that are all former contract officers. They've been in the industry. They've ran their own government contracting consulting firms. I have partners that know so much more than I've even collected in knowledge over the last 15 years. But, it's a really great team of folks. So we've got great coverage. Now we're going to be, more of us in numbers, which is great, because it was historically just the three of us. And now we're getting all of our other folks onboarded and up to date. So, but also kind of for the meat of the whole purpose of why we're here, just from a financial perspective, and I'm not talking about this just from, the B of A point of view. This is, kind of theoretically, as you're considering the proposal process and you're going through that business strategy, these are just kind of financial things to consider about it overall. So like I said, you may have already heard some of this from other folks. It's pretty basic things, but it's things that you need to really be thinking about. So first thing I kind of talk about is really knowing your numbers. Know where you've been historically, know where you're at today, know what the future is going to look like. You don't want to end up winning a contract and then realizing I have no way to support this. I don't know how I'm going to support this. I need cash. And then, because then you get into a desperate moment and then you can run into problems. So we all have our specialties and our own capabilities. So it's okay to leverage partners and outsource when you need to. If accounting and cash forecasting is not your thing, find the right trusted partner that understands the industry and can support you. It's okay to leverage that kind of help. Lean on your mentors, lean on those business sponsors that you have in your network. Learn from them. Let them tell you where they may have made a mistake in the proposal process or may have made a mistake in a financials element, and bring that into your business. So learn from the past, learn from your partners, and bring them in. Again, consider the bigger impact on your company when you succeed. And a lot of folks always think about, well, if I win the contract or if I get this one, this is what we're going to look like. Well, make sure that you actually know what the end result is going to be. So if you have what are there going to be any additional taxes you may have to pay? What kind of capital need are you going to have? Are you going to incur a lot of expenses this year and then the revenue is going to hit next year? What is that going to look like from your financials perspective? Is it going to make your balance sheet look weird? So, talk about it with your accountants, talk about it with your CPAs. So make sure you're thinking about all of that as you're, even as you're in the proposal process. You may have some things that you can hit that okay, this is what it's going to do, but just be making sure that you're thinking about that. Again, leveraging the relationships of everybody that you have already working with you. Do your providers know the industry that you're already supporting and that you're operating in? Are they helping you make introductions to other people that are within the same industry? It could, again, be different service providers. It could be, hey, I ran into this particular business. They're starting out and they're running into some of the same challenges you're having. You guys, should chat, or that they are succeeding from the same challenges that you had. So be mindful when you're thinking about that as well. Again, planning is very key. We absolutely celebrate when our clients win contracts, but we love being part of the process when we actually are talking about the planning. So make sure that you're leveraging those folks, engage with them often. If you need to have a, fireside chat with your accountants, your CPAs, your attorneys, and get everybody in the room together and say, this is the plan. This is what we're working with. This is where we're at. And really get the impact and the advice from those partners as well. And again, financial feasibility, know your numbers. It's very critical, especially like if you're bidding a contract, you may be asked for financial feasibility letters. Again, those are things that if you've got the right kind of partners, you may be able to get that kind of information ahead of time. So this is kind of the final slide here, but just some kind of cash flow management basics for small businesses. Make sure that you're forecasting your expenses and your earnings. Make sure you're tracking your cash flow. Understand if you're having a healthy or a negative cash flow. It's not just positives and negatives. Where's all the money going? Ask your banker for help. Ask for other resources that you may have. Again, and even something to consider, you've got your Apex Accelerator reps, you've got industry partners, leverage those individuals, because you may be the brains of the operation, the brains of the innovative technologies that you're creating or the services you're providing. But if something is outside of your wheelhouse, leverage those individuals. It's be comfortable and accept that kind of help, because we're all here to help you succeed. And just lastly, just some ways to help improve your cash flow, just to think about, your inventory management. Are you collecting your receivables promptly? Again, managing your cash as wisely as you can, and optimize your accounts payable, and then really just make sure that you're taking steps to prevent fraud. So that way you are not losing the money that you have worked so desperately hard for. So I know we kind of sped through a lot of that, but I guess we can, since we're at the bottom of the hour, if there are any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. So Haley, I guess we can just kind of open it up if there's any questions.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. You can also, I know, further along in here, both of our presenters included their emails as well. believe that's right here. So you can always reach out to them directly if you have any questions related to the content they presented.
Yeah, and if anyone's interested, that QR code there under my name goes straight to my calendar. I know people always want to chat after these webinars. So if you want to scan that with your phone, that goes straight to my calendar.
I'm very jealous of that.
Yeah,
And thank you, Robin.
thanks, Robin.
Thank you so much to you both for such an insightful and informative presentation. It was amazing. I know, again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to our presenters here. They have their email information, so definitely feel free to contact them. As a reminder, we do record these and post these on our website, so you will see that posted later today. So that will be up and ready for content. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Also, if you haven't yet, make sure to sign up for our upcoming event. Both of these lovely ladies will be in attendance and speaking at that event as well. So that will be our National Small Business Conference and our Small Business Awards Industry Awards Gala will be in Atlanta next February. General registration is ending later this week. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, make sure you take advantage of that. It's an event you won't want to miss. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to drop us an email or reach out to our presenters. But we appreciate your time today, and we hope you have a great one. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Happy holidays.